Well, you joined me on the side of the road here. I was just driving along, pulled over to the side of the road because it is an absolutely gorgeous view behind me with the sunset. Let me tap that so it actually focuses. And I wanted to take some photos with my truck. And let me just show you what just happened. Not great luck. Well, so I was driving along here, as I just mentioned. Beautiful view here. Thought, well, let's pull the truck over and take some great photos. Little did I see, there used to be a sign here, it seems, and this is quite sharp. Let's see here if it will focus. Looks like the base of a signpost. So I got out and heard some like air hissing noise and thought maybe it was just the air suspension leveling as I kind of pulled off-road here. And then I narrowed it down to the passenger quarter here. And turns out I have a sidewall puncture. And now you're going to join me for swapping this. I am pumping it up to 70 PSI right now. Just hoping to make it the 7 miles back. I'll stop again if I need to. I really don't want to put on a spare here on the side of the road if I don't have to. So yeah. Let me show you how to put on a spare tire back at the house. Well, good morning. It's now the following morning. We have a completely flat tire and it's time to actually put the spare on now. I did learn that there is a product called Tire Jack that's actually included with the inflation kit and actually sounds like it works pretty well, but I just don't quite trust it for driving across the country, quite honestly. If I was driving locally, I might actually try it, but Tire Jack is kind of like a slime-ish product that you inject into the tire. You take out the valve core and then just pump it in, basically. But I've always been a little skeptical of products like that. So let me show you the spare tire setup here, and then we'll get it installed. So as you know, there's the spare tire underneath the bed here. This, if you have the tonneau open, you can actually push it past the first level of opening, and then it will open all the way up, so that way you have more room. We're gonna spin this off here. Just like that. And this takes 2 hands to remove, so just give me a second, I'll show you. So as I mentioned, this takes 2 hands, so you wanna just kind of lift it straight off. This is your base that you'll use with the jack, just like that. And then here you have your jack adapter, so there's a little piece you have to pop off to get this in there to be able to jack the vehicle properly. You've got your lug wrench here. But first, I'm actually going to put the suspension in very high because that's what they recommend you do before you use tire change mode. So let me show you that. So we'll go into drive mode here, turn the vehicle on, off-road, go off-road. Then we'll go into highest here. And tire pressure low, of course. Thanks for the warning, Rivian. I'm well aware. And now we're jacking this thing up. Probably gonna try and level, which is not great because we're slightly slanted. I'm gonna hop out here. It should continue leveling, or raising itself up. So I'll give that a moment here. Let me show you where the jack point is. And just to interrupt this real quick, at this point, you're also going to want to get the spare tire out, and you're actually going to want to spin the rod that goes through the center cap hole of the wheel out first. So you're going to take the cap or the cover that secures everything, the little spinny nut, I guess, and then you can use that. There's a little bit on it that allows you to spin the shaft that all of it's secured with off. So take that off and then take the spare tire out and set it to the side before you go ahead with jacking up the vehicle. So it's actually underneath here, right under here. So we're gonna pop that little cover off, and then that's where we're gonna insert that little jack adapter. And of course, before we actually jack up the vehicle, I am going to use the lug wrench here and loosen the lug nuts, because otherwise you're gonna have a very hard time getting them off. All right, so we've got the jack pad adapter. There's a little hole under that cover there. We've got the jack itself, and we've got the jack pad. So if you have a nice stable setup, then we have this shaft here. They give you 2 more. I think it's not really necessary, but you hook this on here, and then you just spin to jack it up. So let's do that. Well, ended up not filming the entire process. We're on a little bit of a time crunch here. But using a regular jack was super sketchy with the included jack adapter, and using the included jack and jack adapter on an uneven surface was also sketchy. So make sure you're on as level ground as possible, which in a Rivian is not always ideal. So maybe you should bring an off-road jack. That's what I would recommend if you're actually off-roading this. But we got the spare on. It's 148 pound-feet, I believe. Couldn't find a torque wrench though, so I just tightened it down. But time to head off. Hopefully this video is helpful. Definitely would recommend buying the EV Sportline jack pad adapters or a similar product if new ones come on the market, because jacking it up is really sketch. And wrapping up this bit of a disjointed video, my apologies on that. We were actually in a bit of a time crunch to get Kyle to the airport to fly out to pick up the Lucid Air that he has made quite a few videos with. But let me talk to you about the process for getting the tire replaced, as well as the cost of getting the tire replaced. So that day I went to Rivian service in Denver, Colorado. I had created a service request the night before, right after the incident of sorts happened. And I got a call in the morning, like 8:30 in the morning. They weren't 100% sure if they could get me taken care of because they thought I was in Charlotte, similar to when I had the suspension inspection done, which is totally reasonable. But I actually did put the Colorado zip code where it asked where I wanted the service done. So I thought that was a little bit strange. But anyway, they were able to schedule me as a pretty much a on-the-spot appointment at the Denver Service Center. So I went there, dropped off the wheel since I just had it in the bed, and they ended up getting that taken care of in like an hour and a half. I went and got lunch, dilly-dallied a little bit around Denver, and then went back. They swapped the wheel and tire, or they took the spare off the truck and then put it back, and then put the actual tire wheel that the truck came on the vehicle with the new tire, and put away all the spare tire tools because I had left them just in the cubby hole there. Not really having time to clean them up nicer for any reason. But anyway, as far as cost goes, so the tire I thought was actually very reasonable. On Tire Rack, I believe the 20-inch all-terrain tire, the Pirelli Scorpion all-terrain, something like that, it's about $406. And Rivian only charged me $355, which I thought was very good. They did charge me $80 labor for a single tire, which I thought was quite high, but ended up kind of making up for itself. And then there was $31 in tax. Of course, that will vary. So total ended up being $466.29. I'll overlay that here to get that new tire installed. Maybe in the future, if necessary, I would shop around a little bit to see if I can get it cheaper at Discount Tire or something. Even if the tire was a little bit more expensive, maybe with labor, it would end up being less. But if you watch my road trip part 2 video, you actually saw that I got the Discount Tire road hazard certificates. And yeah, so I shouldn't have to worry about this in the future. At least the cost aspect of it should just be taken care of by Discount Tire. But I'm curious, what do you guys think? Is that a reasonable cost? Do you think I made the right choice getting the Discount Tire certificates? I think they were like $310, something like that. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'll see you next time.